Welcome to the VGTank Cast. I'm your host, Eric Oliver, and with me is Robert Torn.
Hello there.
How are you?
I'm doing good.
Excellent. Thank you for listening. As always, you can find our podcast and articles and more. I'm trying my hand at writing at VGTank.com.
It's a website, and it's actually good now.
Yes, it is much better
Go there.
than the terribleness.
Do it.
All right. Today I wanted to talk about, some of the new Zelda footage that we've, seen out there. They had the new trailer from the video game awards, and what do you think about that? They added a lot of, cool things in the trailer, I thought.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool. It was really interesting. It was a new look at it, and I thought they showed a lot of new areas, like things we hadn't seen before.
Right.
That's what I was most excited about. And I think the game's shaping up. It looks beautiful. It looks awesome.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, overall, my initial takeaway was like, that was amazing. I thought it was a really good kind of substance to that game that we hadn't really seen yet, because we'd had so much of the initial starting area from E3, which is cool. And, I don't know how many hours of footage there are, maybe literally like 12 hours or something. So we've seen a lot of that now. But some of the stuff we saw in that trailer were areas we hadn't seen. For example, I know in that one little clip, there's that creature or whatever that it's like a cutscene, and that creature like jumps up into the air, up to that like airship looking thing.
That is very Final Fantasy reminiscent.
Yeah, I agree.
From what I saw
very interesting. But I've watched some, I've watched some of those Game Explain videos and stuff where they go into like deep analysis of some of the previous footages we've seen of the game.
Right.
And they had seen like they didn't know what it was, like a floating cloud, something off in the distance. And I think we can safely say that was probably that airship now. So it's like we saw some things that it made stuff start to kind of connect and make a little bit of sense. There's some other cool stuff in there too. I don't know. What did you think?
I mean, I thought it was awesome. I mean, it looks amazing. Like you said, it's shaping up to be a great game for, being such a delay on a new Zelda title. It looks like they're really making the fans service here on this one. Again, it just looks, could not want a better look to it. The cel shaded, it's not as cel shaded as Wind Waker, but just equally awesome. It is shaping up to be very nice.
Yeah, I think there's the potential that this game could be like one of the best of all time. Like, I'm not saying it will be. I'm just saying that there's the potential there. It feels like this game is special.
Yes.
And that there's that it's, things could happen, or this could be looked upon in the future as being, a pivotal title in the game. And I think all Zelda games are at least good.
Right.
But I think this one has a stronger probability to be phenomenal compared to some of the past more recent entries.
Definitely. I mean, looking at it, it's a lot better looking in my opinion than, either of the ones that came out on the Wii. It knocks those completely out of the park, and not just graphics wise, but the whole environment and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think what I'm most excited about is the fact that even though we've seen a lot of this, especially the starting area, but even in these other little clips and stuff, we've seen a lot of other areas and little snippets of stuff, but I feel like we're still barely seeing anything.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And that's exciting.
Yes.
There's so much more to see.
Right. One thing that I like, from seeing that, I'm not sure if it had really been shown in any of the other ones, but there was the scene with the cuckoo, so I'm hoping that you'll be able to, knife swipe one and get attacked by multiples like you have in the
giant
past.
flock.
Exactly.
You have to run.
I mean, that is kind of one of my favorite things to do in all the Zeldas.
You get pecked to death.
Exactly.
Yeah. Some of the things I saw in that trailer that are of note, and they're not confirmed in any way, but they're interesting, is towards the beginning it shows like some trees, and then all of a sudden it seems like the same trees are all like in fall foliage, and I'm wondering, are there actually like seasons in this game? I mean, I don't know, or was that a different area and they just cut it that way to kind of juxtapose the different environments you'll see? I don't know. I thought that was really cool though. Additionally, and I don't know if you remember this or not, but during E3 they unveiled some of the amiibos that were going to come out in relation to the game, and they also talked about some of the functionality with current amiibos that were going to be in the game, and they showed off the Twilight Princess HD remake that came out for Wii U, and which came with an amiibo, which is like the Wolf Link with Midna riding him, and that amiibo is really cool. I have that game; it's fun. But they talked about how in Breath of the Wild, you can use that amiibo and it brings Wolf Link into the game. with you, and Wolf Link will fight with you. Did you ever see any of this?
No, I don't. I think I remember you kind of talking about it just in passing, but
Yeah.
didn't see any of the footage on it.
Yeah, so like Wolf Link will come into the game and fight with you and fight alongside you. And so I think that functionality is really cool, but I noticed in this trailer there's a part where you're walking into, I don't know, it's near a building or something, but there's a dog kind of near you.
Yes.
Yeah, near your horse. And I'm wondering if you don't have the Wolf Link amiibo, can you maybe recruit dogs in this game to fight with you? Is that something? Is that going to be something that's built in? Because obviously it's in the game because you can do it with Wolf Link, and maybe that's a way for people who don't have the amiibo, they can have that kind of functionality inside of the game. Maybe the Wolf Link amiibo is stronger or something, but that the functionality exists.
I noticed that. I mean, it's definitely odd that it's following in such close proximity to you.
Oh yeah.
It makes it seem like it's part
hanging
of
out
your group. Exactly.
Yeah, I agree. They also showed for the first time we saw like buildings. We saw people. We saw towns. Had not seen that yet, and I don't really have any points to that specifically, but it's just cool to see that. It was exciting.
I mean, I thought that the runes that you would see with the the smashed up Zelda Legend of Zelda banner that you see everywhere with that kind of broken and in pieces, that looks pretty awesome as well.
Yeah, it looked really dope. And then the big thing, and I've seen a lot of talk about it online, is just that you saw what appeared to be a female Link in the video for a split minute. And I mean, and I understand both sides of this. There's people who are like that character was a female Link, and there's people like there's no way that was just Zelda in clothing similar to Link's. And I think there's merit on both of those. I mean, it seemed as if the hair of that female Link or whatever seemed to be the same color as what you'd expect Princess Zelda's, but then again Link's hair is lighter too.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting. I don't know, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I think it just doesn't make sense to introduce a female Link. This is a title that's been around forever now. Granted, people are trying to change it up and include new things, but you've already got that strong female character in there, even though in most cases she's the damsel in distress kind of thing. But she could definitely be coming into her own. That could be stuff from the beginning of the game before she if she does get captured and it kind of follows the same process as all the other ones. It could be before she could just not get captured and she's a secondary character that you can play even.
Yeah, I know some people long ago, before we had all these trailers and stuff, there were some rumors that the player would be able to choose to play as a female version of Link if they wanted to. And now there's a big movement of people who are like really excited about that, and then a big group of people that thought that was a terrible idea. And so I think the footage you saw here kind of shows that at the very least, this character's in the game at the same time as male Link. Right. So I think it's unlikely that you're choosing to play as either sex. I think you're probably just going to be a male Link, and then that's a character. Wait, now maybe that's Zelda, maybe it's not. But I don't personally think it's like a female Link. I don't know. I mean, I guess storyline wise, they could work in like maybe it was a different hero of time or something, or maybe that's a flashback or something. I don't know. I mean, we don't. There's too much to think about, and we didn't see enough to know for sure. But it's just something interesting to think about, because we definitely see Zelda later in the trailer, a few seconds after that part, in her normal kind of royalish garb dress, and and it looks like she's getting mad. She's balling up her fist. So it looks like she's definitely in the game.
Exactly. And that's that's kind of the thing that leads me to think that whoever that character is, if it's Zelda or just another one, that they would be a playable character,
right?
Because it shows that. It shows that connection to whatever is occurring in the main storyline, and it just seems kind of, silly to, show something like that, and then you've got Link sitting down, kind of balled up in a ball next to it, and then, okay, we're just going to go on and cut back. You can play now, stand up Link, and go, run around. So. Yeah,
seems like Link was having a bad day.
Definitely.
He didn't seem very happy.
Definitely. Well, and then the the newest bit of footage was we're seeing it played on the Switch itself on Jimmy Fallon.
Oh, contraire, my friend. I think you're forgetting about the incredible demo that happened during the Video Game Awards.
Let's go on and rewind that. That was quite awkward.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, just that was the the image looked bad, the quality
Yeah.
looked horrible. The first guy that was playing just didn't seem to, know what he was doing really.
Poor Bill Trinan.
And the second guy, yeah, he knew what was going on, picking up the different weapons and all that kind of stuff, but it just played out very awkward. It played like you're sitting there playing the game with your dad, and your dad's trying to play it, and then you're like, okay, just let me go on and take over. Let me go with this.
I thought it was a really bizarre kind of segment because that was the trailer we got, which I thought was really cool, happened in the pre-game show. And then during the show itself is when they did that gameplay thing. And I thought it was very strange. If anything, I would have expected those two things to be flipped because it seemed very like casual and kind of, it seemed like thrown together that little bit, which I think is strange when you're at the big show and you're trying to show off your game. And I agree with what you said. It looks washed out or hazy, and maybe that's the way it's supposed to look. But I just think if you're trying to show off the best of your game, you don't want to pick a place that is kind of muting that and making it not look as great. And they showed some cool things. They showed like some AI from the enemies and different weapons and just different things you could do. I think there was that slow motion slash thing that Link was doing, which was kind of cool. So it wasn't like, it still looked like a game I want to play. It just seemed like an odd choice of
it's
thing
like if
to
I
show.
had seen nothing and had heard nothing about this game, and I saw this and all the hype around it, I would have just been like, that's what you're bringing to the big show here.
Yeah, very strange.
Yeah.
Very strange. So, it is what it is. Like, it didn't tarnish my image of the game or anything.
Yeah.
It felt like an odd choice in that place.
It felt very forced.
Right. So then we had a little bit of time. We had a week or so, and then what happened?
And then, did you see that there was new footage that was on the Jimmy Fallon show?
I did see.
Yes, and that we actually get to see it being played on the Switch, which is something that, up until this point, we haven't really seen. We don't know where that content's coming from.
Yeah, we'd never actually seen a game played on Switch yet, because all, the reveal trailer of the Switch, that was all, post-production.
That wasn't real?
Yeah, no, that wasn't real. Please.
Oh.
They weren't actually playing something.
Dang it.
Obviously, I think it's representative.
Right.
But they, that wasn't what was actually happening there. So it was really exciting to see, I thought, the hardware actually actually working, and that not being just a dummy thing on the counter. It was real. Like, the Switch is real, and it's really going to work.
And everything worked seemingly flawless.
Yes.
Unlike some live shows that, have been done in the past with other video game consoles where, here we go, and it doesn't work.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool. It was really cool. And, similarly to the gameplay part of the Game Awards, what they did in that part of the game, it wasn't, mind-blowing.
Exactly. It was kicking a bomb and blowing up some moblins, charging up a hill.
Yeah.
Nothing too crazy, but, it was definitely enough to pique some interest here.
Yeah, and I thought, comparatively, the footage that we saw on the Switch was much clearer than we saw, from anything else, especially not the part with Bill Trinan playing at the Video Game Awards in that segment. I thought it looked clearer. There's been some speculation that maybe the draw distance was a little better on the Switch version compared to Wii U versions, which may be true. I'm not sure. That just may be me wanting to see it that way, because I know I'm gonna buy the Switch. I know I'm gonna buy the Switch version of this game, so maybe that's just me wanting it to look better, so I'm saying it does. But it seemed that way. Certainly one thing that for sure was better was the frame rate.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because in the Wii U footage, anytime there's like a big explosion on the screen, it slows down big time. And this game, you can go back and watch it. When it blows up, it's fluid. There's no slowdown. And I think that alone makes the Switch version more, appealing to me. And it was really cool seeing, not only having Reggie out there on the stage. I always love seeing him out, especially on something such a public forum like Jimmy Fallon. But seeing Jimmy Fallon so obviously excited.
Exactly.
A lot of people think that his reactions are kind of forced, and don't get me wrong.
He was hamming it up a little bit.
Yeah, he's hamming it. He's a performer.
Still.
But I guarantee he was very excited to see that console. He was excited to play it, whether or not, all of his surprise was genuine, but he was definitely pumped to see that and pumped to play it. I don't know if you noticed, but his hands were like shaking when they handed handed him the console because he was just so excited to play it. And there's been footage afterwards. I guess that evening or something, he went to a game, and there's footage of him from the game. He's talking to somebody next to him. You can't hear him because it's it's like a camera from far away. But he's talking to somebody, and he's talking about the Switch because he's miming how you take the controllers out and stuff. It's just really cool to see. Someone who's obviously so interested in this and kind of giddy about it, and he's just a big fan. So it was exciting. I think watching him play it as well, like it got pulled out of the. Reggie pulled the Switch out of the dock and handed it off, and it switched to gameplay over there. And then just seeing it like in Jimmy Fallon's hands.
Exactly.
Just there's something about that. Like I already knew, obviously we know that that's what the Switch does, but seeing it work and seeing it in live on TV working, it just made me think like, wow, like this really works. Like we're gonna have Zelda that looks like this on a handheld console. Like that's blows my mind. In the system, it's so thin and like elegant.
That surprised me. In all honesty, when he pulled it out, and it's like that is a really thin.
Right, it's amazing system. When you like think about what that is, and then you look at it, in your mind next to the Wii U tablet, which looks like a Fisher-Price toy, and it's like 2 times thicker. The Wii U tablet gamepad is, 2 times thicker, and it's just like so bulky, and that thing doesn't even have any innards.
Exactly.
Whereas the Switch is literally the entire console, and it just looks amazing. And I don't understand how they're physically able to make it do what it's doing.
Right.
And I think that's really exciting. So I thought that they knocked that out of the park. It was really cool, and I thought it was really smart because they showed Super Mario Run, which also looks interesting. I'll be getting that, of course.
Definitely. Well, it's a free download.
Well, free download, but I'll be buying it.
Well, you'll be buying it.
Oh, I'll be buying it day one. But that's just me. But I thought it was really smart that they showed that off and they got like the crowd kind of like pumped up because it's just such a brilliant move. Like, okay, they're into Nintendo. Shigeru Miyamoto was there in the audience, which was really cool, and they got everybody kind of into it, and and Fallon hamming it up, having a great time, and then they unveiled the Switch, and I think. So far, I would say that Jimmy Fallon was by far the biggest public forum that the system's been seen in so far, and more people probably saw that than anyone else has seen of anything leading up to this point. And so it was really smart that everybody was so into it, and Jimmy was so into it, and it worked well, and it made the system real. And I think it got a lot of interest there. And from a marketing standpoint for Nintendo, I thought it was brilliant because now mainstream people, like, they'll know what the Switch is.
Exactly.
They know when it's coming out.
They'll see that it works.
They'll see that it works, and the concept, they were very clear about the messaging of that system. And I just think that Nintendo is positioning the Switch perfectly so far.
Right.
Which is surprising because they're so good at screwing these things up. And so it's really awesome. It's good to see that it seems like they know what they're trying to do here, and they're being smart about it. And what a great opportunity for them to get the word out, because this didn't cost them anything.
Exactly.
I mean, like, this wasn't like a big commercial push or something. This is just them on Jimmy Fallon. I imagine Jimmy Fallon invited them out because he wanted to have that stuff there. And I mean, just what a great opportunity for them. So it's awesome. I thought that juxtaposed with the gameplay footage we saw at Game Awards was just perfect.
Night and day difference.
Yeah, it was perfect. It was Nintendo was being really smart. And it's making me hopeful, but I don't like to have too much hope because Nintendo does things sometimes that blows my mind. But it just seemed
classic.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. Like, let's make 3 of those. But so far it just seems like that's pretty cool. Like, I dig it. Like, I like what they're doing. Keep on doing it. And,
exactly.
I mean, we'll see. I'm hopeful. I know it's January 12th, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're gonna have more info on the Switch, and I for one will be waiting with bated breath for additional information.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. I don't even know what day of the week that is. I don't know if it's.
I have no clue.
I know I'll be at work, so that'll be sad.
Hey, you'll find a way to watch.
Yeah, I'll just close my door and lock it, and I'll watch the footage, and it'll be great. So yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Definitely. So yeah, we're gonna kind of switch gears here a little bit. With the last. Recording that we had, we talked about the Nintendo Classic, kind of talking about, some nostalgia aspects there. Kind of want to go down a little bit more of, memory lane in that regard. And what were some of your favorite titles to play on each one of the systems that might not be on the Classic?
So you're saying, like, in general,
In general.
what games on Nintendo, Super Nintendo, N64 did I
Exactly.
really love?
Exactly.
In general, man, that's a good question. Because the NES Classic, I mean, obviously we covered the games that were on it.
Right. But there's still so many better games that are out there.
Oh, sure. I mean, like, I loved Mega Man 3 a lot. That was a great game on NES. Dragon Warrior.
Of course.
Those were great titles.
Yeah.
Loved playing that game. I'm trying to think of other ones that I'm going with 8-bit right now.
Mm-hmm.
Other 8-bit games. I mean, Tetris, of course. I think we kind of talked about that one, but I played that quite a bit. There was other games that were like licensed games, like DuckTales and Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. Like, those were awesome games. I even had like Mickey's Mousecapades, and I was like, I was a little kid. Like at the time, the game was pretty cool. Had fun with that one. I don't know. What about you for 8-bit?
So, I mean, for 8-bit, I honestly loved the Twin Cobra, the helicopter shooter. What was it? Silkworm, I think. It was another shooter. I'm a huge fan of shooters. That one had the helicopter and the Jeep, I think. That kind of played I think they played at the same time. At least they did in the arcade. But that was one that I remember. My buddy that had one growing up, and then the Simpsons, Bart versus the World. I always thought that was a pretty good one that they brought over there too, especially not being a huge Simpsons fan.
Right, yeah, that was a fun game. I remember that one. Yeah, Super Nintendo, man. I mean, there's so many. Like, I mean, obviously there's not a Super Nintendo Classic yet, so anything we say, but like games that we hadn't really talked about like really deeply, like I mean, Chrono Trigger is incredible.
Yes.
Final Fantasy VI is one of my favorite games of all time.
Right.
Even games like Rampart.
Oh, Rampart. The memories with Rampart.
Yeah, Rampart was amazing. I mean, we had so much fun with that game. Oh man, I'm trying to think of games that just aren't like the staple Nintendo games.
The strike games, I loved all the strike games.
Are those
Jungle Strike, like Desert Strike,
like you're a helicopter?
Yeah,
I remember those.
Those ones were great. I know that they kind of came out on both systems. The Genesis as well, but I don't know. They always thought they looked better on the Super Nintendo. Same with most of the games, really.
And Tiny Toon Adventures Buster Bust Loose. I'm not even kidding. That game was great.
Never had that one.
I played that I mean, it'd be funny to go back and play it now because I haven't played it so long. Awful. But man, I loved it when I was a kid. It was a great game. He had stuff like Mario Paint, which I really got into. I wasn't any good with it. Like I couldn't make anything that actually looked good. But man, I had fun playing it. I don't know, man. Like there's like Secret of Mana. Like
Secret of Mana was
all those
pretty good.
Like Super Nintendo just had so many RPGs that were just incredible.
Yes. That they definitely did.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. I mean those I'm struggling to think of ones that are like not the main staples.
Right,
Like I don't want to talk about like obviously Super Mario World, Legend of Zelda, like all those. Like duh.
Mario RPG.
Yeah. Like exactly. Super Metroid. Like we don't need to talk about those. Everybody knows those games. Any others that you could think of for Super Nintendo?
I mean that I'm sure they're there. I'm sure that I'm missing. UN Squadron, another one. But again, with that same shooter genre. I absolutely loved it.
Super Off-Road.
Super Off-Road. That was a great one.
That was fun. I had a lot of fun with that game.
What about N64?
N64 games that like weren't huge. Like for me, like Paper Mario. That game, I don't think that game sold a ton. It came out really late in the lifespan of the console. Yeah. But that game blew my mind. I just thought that was so. At the time, the idea of a Mario RPG where he's kind of flat was just bizarre.
Yeah.
But then I played that game and it was just so much fun. I mean, it's just an incredible game. So I love that one. Conker's Bad Fur Day was another one that was
just right there at the end. And they broke a lot of ground with that game too.
They did.
You had the voice acting on a cartridge.
Yeah.
Was unheard of really until then.
Yeah, it was incredible. That game came so out of left field, like came out of nowhere, like
especially when you follow the history of what it was going to be originally.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Check that out. Go wiki that. It's a cool game.
So good.
Had a lot of fun with that. It was a good experience. What are some other like weirder ones?
So I was never big on the N64. I kind of had a lull until GameCube with that system, just because it was so awkward.
Yeah, no, it was. This game is not rare and it's pretty beloved in general. But like Wave Race 64, dude, I got so into that game. Like I could get first place in every match on the hardest setting. Like I got so good at that game. You'd like memorize where the waves were. And like, I'm serious. I'm not even kidding. That game was awesome.
That's how you won.
You're right. I really love that game. You know, it's funny. I never played the GameCube follow-up, Blue Storm. Never played it. I think I could probably buy it for like a penny on Amazon used,
sure.
but never played that game. But man, the 64 version was great. I'm trying to think of other ones that I had that were just like out there titles.
Exactly. Because there wasn't.
There weren't a lot.
There weren't a lot. It kind of that was kind of the stagnant that Nintendo kind of had, especially everything's kind of transitioning to CD based. You can hunt down the the test stuff for another Final Fantasy. I remember looking at that years and years ago. They took all the 6 characters and made them giant blocky polygons. But
there's like Shadows of the Empire.
Shadows of the Empire.
That was a cool game.
That was definitely a good one.
Were there
Rogue
any
Squadron?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great game. Were there any of your helicopter games on there? I don't even know.
I think there was.
Yeah.
But again, it just got kind of too awkward to play. You had the you had ones like the Blizzard game. Why can't I remember?
Lost Vikings?
No, not Lost Vikings.
Oh, that's a great
StarCraft.
game, by the way.
StarCraft.
Oh, StarCraft.
Didn't StarCraft come out on the N64?
Yeah, that's a great question. I know StarCraft came to consoles.
Yes.
I don't specifically remember if it's on N64, but I want to say yes. I feel like I'm seeing it.
Horrible looking.
I'm sure it was. I'm sure it was terrible. That probably happened.
Probably. Trying everything. And then...
There's like Ogre 64.
Yeah, and that's one of those that's like unusually expensive for an N64 game.
Yeah, like I was always interested in it, but I was like never going to buy it.
Right,
because it was just way too much money.
That was one that the original came out on Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
And then it
Tactics Ogre.
Else. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Yeah, man, those games. Got into those. GameCube. Like
so many better games.
Oh yeah, big time. I mean, I forgot on N64, like Mario Party 2.
Oh, yes, the start.
Yeah, I had to talk about that. Mario Party 2 was just I put dozens of hours in that game with my friends. We had so much fun.
Yeah.
Okay, but GameCube, like Animal Crossing, the original one, I don't think that was terribly popular at the time.
Right.
Obviously, Animal Crossing's become kind of a big franchise now, but at the time, I don't think a lot of people had that. And when that first title to us in America came out, because it came out on the N64 in Japan, but when we had it here, people were discovering, I can change the system clock and I can like cheat the game. But me and my college roommate at the time were like, we're not going to cheat this game, and we knew that at 6 a.m.
turnips went on sale.
No, you could get red snapper out of the ocean. Like they would populate like at a much higher percentage, and red snapper, if I remember correctly, would sell for 3,000 bells, which was a lot of bells. And so we would set our alarms for 6 a.m. because we refused to cheat. We're like, let's get up at 6 a.m. and start fishing. And so we would get up at 6 in the morning and fish, and then go back to sleep again until our normal time of getting up.
I could see you guys doing
We were kind of ridiculous about that game. That one, and then Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door is again one of my most favorite games of all time. That game is just incredible.
And of course, the Primes.
Yes, I mean, of course, Metroid Prime's like, that blew our minds.
Yes.
At the time, it was awesome.
I,
were so cool.
I was a huge fan of Pikmin. I still am.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those just kind of weird, quirky, quirky games that I have always kind of had some interest in. Never actually purchased it, but because it was always so expensive. But always, it's definitely one of those that if the rumors come true, probably end up getting it on the Switch.
Yep, indeed. I really liked Star Fox Adventures, which gets a lot of crap. Like people hate that game, because it wasn't Star Fox. It was just a different, it was Dinosaur Planet or something. It was like totally not licensed characters, but they turned it into that, and I think people were expecting a Star Fox game and so therefore hated it. But I played that game not thinking about Star Fox, and man, that game was a lot of fun. That was a weirder one that I just absolutely loved.
I was a fan of Battalion Wars, which was kind of Advanced Wars on the Game Boy, their GameCube version. Cutesy, armies fighting each other out. It was very fun.
I have the Fire Emblem. I think it's Path of Radiance for the GameCube, which back then Fire Emblem wasn't huge yet. Yeah. And so I have that one, which I think is worth some money now. And I played that. That was pretty cool too. I know when we went to E3. The one year we went, 2005. They had a few GameCube games there. Probably most notably Twilight Princess for GameCube, which was really cool.
And StarCraft Ghost.
Never saw that one. Yep. So yeah, GameCube was a good console. I really like the GameCube.
It definitely was. I thought it, did much better than, the Wii. The Wii had some cool functions with the virtual console and everything, but I think a system as a whole, the GameCube was so much better.
Yeah, I think overall, when you look at if I took all of my favorite games from GameCube and all of my favorite games from Wii, if I had to choose one of those libraries to keep and be able to play, I'd probably choose GameCube.
Yeah.
I mean, I liked my Wii a lot, but yeah, I'd probably have to. I'd keep my GameCube. There's some games on there that are just pretty incredible.
Right.
So pretty awesome.
So yeah, I mean, Wii's kind of getting into newer stuff, and there's not really that much of a nostalgia factor. So yeah.
Covers our games.
Indeed. We can kind of touch base on the rumors of Switch being able to do GameCube.
Yeah, there's some talk out there.
Definitely some talk.
I think it's from Eurogamer talking about how Nintendo plans to add GameCube titles to the Virtual Console for the Switch.
I think it would be a brilliant idea.
Yeah, I mean, I think
there are so many good games on that system.
That's cool. Yeah, I mean, if I could get Paper Mario, I would definitely buy it again just to have it on the Switch and play it on the go. Like that's where it starts getting really interesting because it's like being able to play GameCube games on the go just sounds awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you're not having that weird flappy screen that you could have bought that came for all the systems.
Right. Exactly. So yeah, no, I think that'd be really cool. That's an awesome rumor.
And another one too that Nintendo would just make serious money on if they were to actually go through and do that.
Oh yeah, I mean, I doubt my expectation with the Switch. I guess the Virtual Console for the Wii U was pretty bad in general. Not only in how it emulated, but also into the selection. They just didn't have a very good selection. They were so slow to bring out titles, and I'm really hoping with Switch that they're able to do better. Lesson. Yeah, I mean, I really hope so. I mean, I don't know, but I really hope so. And so when I think about GameCube Virtual Console on Switch, I just don't see a lot of titles coming. I just see like some of the key ones. You're gonna get your Super Mario Sunshine. You're gonna get Prime Metroid Prime.
I could definitely see
I wouldn't
that.
be surprised if Paper Mario ended up being there.
Right.
But it's like I don't think we're gonna have like extensive where it's like 60 titles from the GameCube are available. It'll be like the 10 to 15 key ones, and they'll come out every month or two. You'll get one.
That's really all that you need. I don't need some weird obscure title that I saw once in passing at the store. I want the big heavy hitters, and you put those big heavy hitters on there, and people will buy them again.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, there's a handful of titles, GameCube titles, that I would buy again, even if I already own them for the Switch, just to have the ability to play it on the go. That'd be pretty awesome. That's
the biggest thing is they could release their entire back catalog, and even if people bought them, on their Wii's or on their Wii U's, they would rebuy it on the Switch just for the fact that they could take it with them.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that'd be really cool. I would love that functionality.
Definitely. Well, this has been, VGTank, so we'll see y'all again next time.
Yay! Bye.
Bye.